covering the stories that impact your life, your town, your state, and your future. This is the Means Report with your host, Brad Means.
Hello, everybody, and welcome once again to the Means Report. We certainly appreciate you spending part of your day with us, where today, once again, we are ripping our Means Report topics straight from the headlines. George Escala, our senior reporter, does an amazing job covering downtown, among other things. But I thought, why don't we stop and do a full Means Report to really find out what's going on in our central business district, what the future holds for it, what's going on with parking spots and trees and overall traffic. And so we have two great guests to help us navigate those waters. And then, of course, we'll let you know how to stay in touch with the Means Report, as we always do at the end of this broadcast. But here at the beginning, we want to welcome back the director of the Downtown Development Authority. She is Margaret Woodard, no stranger to our community, no stranger to newscasts almost every night, especially lately. Margaret, thanks for being with me.
Hey, thanks for having me. We love to tell the story of everything that's going on downtown.
Well, it's such a great part of our community. Just a general question, and your answer could probably take up the whole segment here, but how are things going from a business standpoint? How are our merchants doing down there?
You know, it's been an amazing, 5 years since the pandemic started.
Yeah.
We've seen a net gain every year of between 45 and 55 new businesses open up on the Broad Street corridor. So that should answer the question. And not everybody, makes it, but for the most part, we've seen an incredible net gain of restaurants and specialty retail. So it's going quite well.
All right, for those who do watch the 6 o'clock news and find out that there are several projects going on to improve our downtown area, can you kind of summarize all that's happening down there to make it better?
Yes, we're getting ready to start a $65 million streetscape project.
Wait, where's that money coming from?
TIA.
Okay,
TIA. The penny tax. We've been talking about this project for 10 years. New sidewalks, new landscaping, new trees, more green space, bike lanes. It's going to be gorgeous when it's completed in 3 years.
Why'd y'all take all those trees? People are freaking out.
You know, there are two camps on that,
Yeah.
really. There's a camp that did freak out, you're correct. There's also a camp who kind of likes it because they say downtown's better lit at night. It's not blocking the traffic lights. You can see the pretty buildings. But the answer to that question is we're getting ready to start construction on the James Brown Linear Park, which is going to be in the middle of the street, where James Brown's statue is now.
Okay, the middle of Broad.
Middle of Broad Street, yes. And when you take trees down or you do projects, there's a cost. It's called mobilization costs. You got to bring a contractor in with equipment, and it just saves money to take them down at the same time. So that's why they went 13th to 8th.
Well, and it should be noted that you'll replant, right? We're not going to be treeless.
No, there will be all new trees planted when the project is over.
All right, that's good. Can I ask you about that James Brown thing? Is it going to redo the way the Augusta Common looks, or is it just the part where his statue is?
It's just the part where his statue is. It's gonna his statue's gonna go to the History Museum to be stored during construction. So we want everybody to be aware of that. He was not stolen, or he didn't. He's safe. And it's going to be a tribute to Mr. Brown and his career. There are going to be water features, album covers, interactive things to do there, light features, and it's going to be gorgeous when it's completed.
All right, Margaret, I'm not picking on downtown because I could say this about any part of Augusta, but there are empty buildings down there. There are buildings that need tenants. Is anything being done on that front? And what would you say to folks to encourage them that, hey, be patient. These will be occupied one day?
I'm so glad you asked that question because this has been an initiative the DDA has been working on for the past 2 years. And we have worked on a solution, and we're starting conversations with the city. First thing we have to do is tell the story and highlight the buildings that have been renovated. We need to let property owners know what the resources are. How are we going to do this? How can I get this done? So we're going to start highlighting buildings downtown that have been renovated. And then second, we are looking at something that Powder Springs did outside Atlanta. It's called a building registry, where you have to register your building when you buy it or the one that you currently own. And you do have to keep it properly maintained. Also, there are cities around the Atlanta area that enforce an empty building tax. If your building's empty, you pay a higher property tax.
Oh, interesting.
Yes, and then there's the final, you want to dangle the carrot. We're looking at a revolving loan fund that we can help property owners borrow money at a low interest rate to get their projects done and help them find tenants. So,
can you talk about safety and what sort of updates or reassurances can you offer to folks who want to come downtown, want to support the businesses, and want to feel safe?
Yeah, we had the sheriff at our last board meeting, and he gave a great update. And we will do anything we can. Summertime, school's out, kids want to go downtown, and right now there are extra sheriff's employees downtown, anywhere between 15 and 20, and they're walking the beat, and they're meeting with people, so it's not this scary thing.
Sure. You see them walking around and they're interacting with the community.
Yeah, absolutely, and people love it. And that has made a big difference. They're downtown on the weekends. I think they're downtown every night, but on the weekends they're there from about 10 p.m. till 3 a.m.
Wow.
When the bars close. Bars close at 2:30, so they stay and just kind of get people to move on and go home.
Well, you probably just answered this question, but it's been a while for me personally. So is First Friday still a thing? Is that a big night for y'all?
I think it is still a thing. That is an event that branded itself so well because there is not a group that's in charge of it. I think everybody just says it's First Friday.
It's First Friday.
Let's go downtown.
Yeah.
And stores stay open later and serve wine, and it's a good night.
Is there a kind of business that you would like to see come downtown, maybe that's not already there or that's already there and you'd like to see more of, that's just a great fit?
Well, what we're seeing, I think, with the number that I share with you, fast casual dining is the fastest growing type of retail that we're seeing downtown. You have Fifth and Flame that just opened in front of the History Museum.
Yeah, I'm hearing good things.
Oh, chicken nachos. Had them last night.
So good.
Oh, great. And then you've got Bradley's Barbecue that's getting ready to open at the old Sunshine Bakery on Upper Broad.
Great name.
So we're seeing those type of fast casual dining. I think right now there are about 50 restaurants on the Broad Street corridor. So it's a great, you can come down and get farm to table and all sorts of good food. We're seeing that. But we're also seeing some different kind of retail because our living population downtown is starting to explode, which is great. We just somebody just opened a dog treat. A new florist has opened up on Lower Broad. So we're seeing some of the typical retail businesses come back.
Okay, Margaret, you hit on something that everyone has noticed, and that's the proliferation of apartment buildings downtown. Is that yielding good results for businesses? Are people walking out of their homes and supporting the businesses?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we saw, the Augustan, which was an ATC development, and then King Mill were both completed last year. That was about 500 units. But with a couple of other projects, living units, and currently right now we've got 650 on the drawing boards to break ground this year.
That's great.
Our goal is to get to 8,000, and that in itself really drives retail and services.
What about people who don't walk downtown because they live in other parts of the city? How do you feel about parking, especially after all of these upgrades are finished?
There's ample parking downtown, and I think the story we need to tell during the TIA projects is very simple. Downtown is open for business. There's ample parking, and we're going to tell you where that parking is. And during construction, give yourself 5 or 10 extra minutes to find a parking place, especially if you're going to the Miller or the Imperial, but there is ample parking.
I'm almost hesitant to ask this because I think Augusta has its own character and its own vibe, but is there a downtown that our viewers may have visited that they might think, oh, after everything's said and done, ours may look like this? Is there a town that comes to mind, or are you just trying to make Augusta's unique?
Well, I would love for us to be the town
Yeah.
that everybody wants to be.
Me too.
You know, your downtown is driven by your demographics. You know, everybody always says, let's get in a car and go to Greenville, or let's go to Macon, or let's go to all these other cities. And you can learn a lot. You can learn new things when you go to these cities. But Greenville, Macon, they don't have the same demographics that we do. We are a very eclectic downtown. We just had 2 young people come from the Vincent Institute to help us revision downtown, and it was so heartwarming to hear them say, you know, your downtown's got a little bit of edge, a little bit of grit,
Yeah.
and that's what we like. You know, we're not scrubbed clean.
No.
We're not sterile. I don't want to be a downtown where everything's brick and pretty awnings. So we've got a really eclectic downtown with some art and some beautiful architecture, but you know, it's my hopes. And you know, it happened last year. Somebody actually came to Augusta and said, we like what you're doing. And I was like, okay, maybe we're on our way. Maybe, you know, somebody wants to be like us. So I want us to be Augusta.
I love it. Yeah, I want us to be Augusta too, because Augusta does have it going on. Probably my last question, and it's about the Enterprise Center that you are doing. It's about to open. There's a lot of excitement. Can you sort of tell me what this is about?
Yes, that project was born out of the pandemic. I don't know if you remember this, but the National Historic Trust and the SBA said 35% of small businesses are not going to survive the pandemic. And that kept me up at night. I mean, that's a lot of businesses downtown, but we did it. We made it through, but what we learned is that our existing small businesses don't have the resources that they need, number one. And then during the pandemic, all these entrepreneurs started, you know, they weren't going to the office, and so they started their cottage industry.
Yeah.
And so now we've got budding entrepreneurs. So we applied, the DDA applied for an appropriations grant through Senator Warnock's office, and we were awarded $2.35 million. So we have partnered with Augusta Tech and other Augusta universities working with us, Payne College, everyone's involved. And this is going to be training and resources for existing and budding new businesses.
So those people starting out can thrive.
Yes, they need customers, they need investors, they need all sorts of things. So we are almost finished with construction. We're hoping to be operating in the fall, so we'll be having a grand opening at the end of the summer. And Brad, it is a stunning project.
I can't wait to check it out.
It's
the Micro
600
Enterprise.
Broad. It's 600 Broad, the old Chamber of Commerce building.
Micro Enterprise Center.
It's called Accelerate Augusta.
Accelerate Augusta.
Augusta.
All right, Margaret, we'll remember it. I knew I could do a whole show with you. We have to stop here, but I feel more informed. I hope y'all do too. And I know how much you love downtown, and it's heartwarming to see good things on the horizon.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for what you do.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Margaret Woodard, Director of the Downtown Development Authority. Go down there, support that part of our community. When we come back, more on downtown and parking and traffic with a guy who knows everything about it. He's John Usry. We love having him on the Means Report.